Joy Show. Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live from the Joy virtual studio right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so good to be with all of you today. We are live. It's August 17th, Monday. The news like a fire hose in our face every single day. I'm here with you every day on the SJ Show, not left, not right, just the truth straight up. And yeah, we're broadcasting live on Rumble, live on Twitter, Spreely TV, Roku TV, Apple TV, every podcast platform you can imagine. We're live on Facebook, live on YouTube, live on Substack, and of course, Twitter. Great to be with all of you today. You see the headline, Global Resistance to Agenda 2030 Intensifies. From Florida to the Netherlands, people are waking up. They're waking up fast, and they are pushing back in a million different ways, which we're going to be talking about today. No longer are Americans or citizens of the world satisfied to sit back and wait for an election year and the election of a politician to come and save them from what is on the horizon, the takeover of nearly everything, the tokenization of everything, global war, famine, pandemics, real or contrived, economic warfare, and a whole host of intrusions into our lives, into the lives of regular American citizens. People are realizing that something is very wrong, and they're waking up. In the Netherlands, we have Dutch farmers and truckers drawing a literal line in the dirt, forming a massive human shield of tractors and illuminated vehicles across the land to defy nitrogen permit clampdowns, all in the name of Agenda 2030 and sustainability. And these rules have been put in place by their governments. They're threatening their farms and their freedom. And the Dutch farmers and truckers are gearing up again and rolling out across the Netherlands. I have video for you today. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Meanwhile, in Florida, everyday patriot Jimmy Balls, he is the Florida man, and he's gone viral as a one-man wrecking ball against flock cameras, standing up to the AI surveillance that turned free citizens into traced and tracked data points. The resistance to flock cameras is spreading nationwide. My 14-year-old son and I were laughing at a bunch of videos that were rolled out. He and all his friends talk about the flock cameras. They hate the flock cameras. And the viral videos are hilarious and amazing all at once. We now have a company, an American company, coming up with the flock sock, which is a sock that you can easily put over flock cameras to obstruct the cameras. It's absolutely brilliant. We now are seeing promotion of Halloween 2026 as a nationwide anti-deflock movement, as deflockers will, join the millions of little kids out there who are trick-or-treating to take down a few flock cameras as well, which is awesome. From the European fields to American city halls, 2026 is heating up, guys, and I am here for it. People are exiting the two-party political system, the two-party paradigm, not just in the United States of America, but in European countries across the West. They're organizing locally to withdraw common consent and refuse compliance. So today we're going to look at a couple different stories. We're going to spend a lot of time on this one. Absolutely brilliant write-up that was dropped by Zero Hedge just about 12 hours ago, submitted by Patty Johnson, the author. A 4-page piece printed out, but very important because it talks about the tokenization of water across the U.S., how the ruling class elites are claiming the world's water supply, and they plan to trade on it, make billions, if not trillions, off of it, and use that surveillance to essentially withhold water, which is the life-giving source of this planet, from average citizens. It is unbelievable. The threat of tokenization is something that everyone needs to understand. If they can tokenize water, they can tokenize grass, they can tokenize the rainforest, they can tokenize all parcels of land, they can even tokenize human beings, our organs, they can tokenize oxygen. This is a mass pro-slavery movement, 21st century digital slavery that they are trying to roll out as some type of innovation and a new utopian technology or technocracy that is going to make everyone rich. You don't have to work, you'll own nothing and be happy. You'll be on Elon Musk's universal basic income, which we all know will be super low, meaning you have nothing. And tokenization and the blockchain are two very important elements that people need to understand. This is why we're seeing data centers going up all over, or under the guise of data center rollouts, are really land grabs and water grabs. So we're going to be looking at this today. It's a great piece. It's linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. Scroll down and you will see all of my links today in the SJ show notes. So a little later on, in about 20, 30 minutes, we are going to go through this piece and I'm going to take my time with it. Very rarely, if you can see my notes on this. All right, it's 4 pages. And every so often, there will be a piece that I'll just underline, I'll get some pull quotes. And this one, written by Patty Johnson, dropped by Zero Hedge, I've basically underlined almost every line. So we're going to go through it. We're going to take our time because this understanding is critical. And it is going to be critical for you to understand as you begin to gear up for local organization and resistance. I love the end of her piece here. This is the plan. She said, what is sold to the public as sustainability and equity is in practice the transfer of control from communities, individuals, and nations to the very financial and bureaucratic elite ruling class, global in nature, who drafted the blueprint. Agenda 2030 is the framework being used to justify seizing, measuring, and selling the world's water supply under the banner of saving it, and extend that to the land, extend that to the air, extend that to every resource on the face of this planet, including humans, because that's the brass ring. What is the most valuable commodity on the face of the planet? It's the people, it's the humans, and they would love to commoditize us as well. So we need to understand this. She goes on to say, this is the plan. It's already in motion. And the people pushing it expect the public to accept it as inevitable. But it is not inevitable. Resistance is not futile. Exposing the plan and organizing to stop it is our role as human citizens today, not only in the United States of America, but across the globe. And this was the primary focus of a blockbuster interview that I did last week with Catherine Austin Fitts, a full hour on the big picture, the 40,000 foot vantage point, the big plan, the depopulation agenda, the Hegelian dialectic, and the use of crisis and emergency to put in place dystopian policies that are not being put in place by national sovereigns. There are no more national governments that are not bought and paid for and corrupted and controlled by a global governing elite, warring factions of moneyed family, old wealth, generational wealth that have now seized power through different organizations and are wielding that power through puppet structures in governments across the West. We lay it all out. Catherine Austin Fitts was on fire. And I'm going to be rolling out that interview tomorrow on the SJ show as a live. So I'll be introducing the show tomorrow and we're going to run that full hour. We'll have some commentary afterwards, but do not miss tomorrow's show. The most amazing thing about Catherine Austin Fitts is her optimism, her cheerfulness, her understanding that You do not have to submit to this new world order, this new global order. You do not have to be a victim of it. And we talk extensively about how to not be a victim. And she also gives unbelievable resources and access to resource, which you are going to see tomorrow in my show notes. So I'm going to link you to every resource that you need to get started, to extricate yourself from the two-party political paradigm, to say no to the Democrats and the Republicans, no to the left and to the right, and the divisive media apparatus that keeps us at each other's throat on a daily basis. It is we, the people, coming together, uniting against this common enemy, which more and more Americans are beginning to understand, which frightens them the most. They are terrified of the average American or the average citizen organizing to withdraw common consent and to refuse to comply with any of their laws or any of their technologies. And so we have so many great videos for you today. So that is tomorrow's show. I am going to do a little bit of housekeeping in a moment. I want to say hello to all of you on the live chat. Of course, welcome everyone. If you're watching on Rumble right now, smash that thumbs up button. Follow the SJ Show. Join that live chat. Say hello. I want to say hello to you. Same if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter. I'm going to be checking those live chats in the commercial breaks of today's show, and I want to hear from you and read your comment. Fez Woody on the live chat, the best thing we can do is to shed light on the cockroaches, turn the lights on to their plans, expose those plans, because they would like to be operating in darkness, and they will no longer have that luxury as more and more people begin to wake up. So I'm going to say hello to all of you and give you the agenda for this week on the SJ Show. Also, quickly, if you guys could keep in prayer for me today, devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy and his mom. I almost canceled the show today. She is not feeling well and had to be hospitalized. And of course, we know the medical industrial complex is a scary place. She is doing well, but I was gonna drive out there with Devastatingly Handsome to be with her and to keep an eye on things. But I think he has it under control, and I'm gonna be driving out likely later tonight. So things might be a little bit fluid this week, so please just bear with us. But she is unbelievable, the best mother-in-law you can ever imagine. People hear horror stories about mother-in-laws and the feuding between daughters and their mother-in-laws. I've been with Devastatingly Handsome Dr. Joy for over 30 years, married for almost 24 years, and have been so blessed to have the kindest, gentlest, most supportive, most amazing mother-in-law on the face of the planet. And I can say since we got together, I've never had a single cross word with her. We've never had a single argument. She's just an absolute angel. So if you can keep her in your prayers today as we navigate the hospital system, people go in, they have great care and things are fine. But as you know, I am so well versed on horrifying atrocities that can be committed in hospitals via protocol. And so we're going to be looking out for that. So please just pray for us as we navigate this. Her condition isn't serious, but there are certain things that have happened since she's been there. She went in last Friday. It's been way too long that are giving us a little bit of concern. So we are going to be keeping an eye on that, and let's just pour out those prayers. Also this week, we're taking Mimi down to college, my freshman. She's my only daughter, middle child, freshman year in Tennessee. So on Thursday and Friday, I'll be en route, driving down to Tennessee with my daughter and my husband. So not sure what I'm doing for those days yet. There might be a guest host. I might run a best of or pre-record show. I'm still deciding what to do with those 2 days, but we're going to keep it fluid. I just want to let you guys know if we are not on Thursday, there's nothing going on. We are just taking our daughter down to college, and we're going to be spending some really, really important family time with her. Lou Melcom, thank you so much. Praying for your dear mother-in-law. So sad that we have to fear the medical system, and I was talking about it last week. This is the medical industrial complex, hospital kill protocols, government recommended kill protocols, the AI systems being put in place, replacing humans with systems and protocols and data, all of it in many ways the antithesis of human healing. And yet we are forced sometimes to go into those systems. And I'm not saying that they're always bad, but you're never comfortable when you're there. So appreciate everyone's prayers. Hero May, thank you so much. Texas Gal forever. Appreciate you. Hope you all had a great weekend. We did have a great weekend and a lot of important rest and relaxation, unplugging from the news cycle, that relentless 24-hour doom and gloom, doom scrolling news cycle that we are all subjected to today. Very difficult to know what is true, what is false. So many layers of propaganda and misinformation hitting us from every angle, from both left-wing and right-wing news media. So very difficult to discern the truth, but we do our best every day here on the show. Ollie Robin 9, great to see you. Dino Fun, so glad that you're with us today. Hey, Future Ez, great to see you. And Max Glickman, great to see you as well. The live chat on Rumble is already hopping. I appreciate all of you. Of course, thank you to the sponsors of the Shannon Joy Show. Quick shout out to our friends over at the satellite phone store, sat123.com. sat123.com/joy. Everything that you need for the end of the world, a natural disaster, the zombie apocalypse, alien invasion, you name it, they have it at the satellite phone store. And they've been amazing sponsors of the SJ Show for over 2 years. Generators, solar panels, Faraday technology, bags and beanies, the Faraday technology, which protects you from and your devices from an EMP attack, but also can protect your body from EMF radiation. They have a full line of dark bag materials and technologies. They work. They're amazing. Everything is always at a discount, 10% off at the satellite phone store when you use the promo code JOY. So anytime you're shopping, please make sure you use that promo code. And we are praying. There are so many natural disasters right now. You wake up to the headlines, wildfires across Europe, major natural disaster hitting Hawaii and Maui right now, just decimating the landscape over there. The weather patterns are wild and unpredictable, and it just seems like you never know when something is going to go down and the lights could go out. So you always want to be protected. And this is why we rely so heavily on the folks over at the satellite phone store. Of course, their bread and butter, it's satellite phones. These are the types of phones that will work when the towers go down. And they have amazing packages that are affordable for average Americans. These are your bug out phones. If everything goes down, these are going to connect you to your loved ones. And so very, very big thank you to the folks over at the satellite phone store, sat123.com/joy, sat123.com/joy. Make sure you're always using that JOY promo code. We want to make sure that they know that their advertising and their marketing is working, and that's how they know. So appreciate them. You're also going to hear from some of our other advertisers today. Let's always keep them in mind. Cotton 33, I see you on the live chat. Speaking of the medical situation in America right now, Hayden Panettiere died yesterday at 36. I saw that crossing the headlines. It's unbelievable now that sudden death at 30, 35, 40, 45, younger and younger just seems to be a normal headline. Turbo cancers among young people, turbo cancers killing people within weeks or months of being diagnosed. It just seems as if there is so much death and destruction out there. I don't know if it's just in my head. It's just what the headlines are throwing at us, but very strange. It used to be an anomaly. It used to be a tragedy. It used to be something that never happened. Young people just dropping dead out of nowhere. Now, we don't know anything about what happened to poor Hayden, but our thoughts and prayers, of course, are with her family and her loved ones. Very, very, very sad. And yes, everyone is jabbed, of course. Everyone is jabbed. So just sad, crazy times that we live in. Crazy times that we live in. So on a positive note, before we get to the zero hedge piece, so what are we going to do today? If you scroll down in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show, by the way, they're right here on Rumble. Make sure you sign up for the SJ Daily e-newsletter. Go to theshannonjoy.com. theshannonjoy.com, my show notes, the overview for the show delivered to you every day in your inbox. Not a lot of clutter. I don't abuse my email list. We have a list of about 50,000 subscribers to the Shannon Joy Daily e-news blast, and the open rate for my e-blast is unbelievable. It's over 50%, which is extraordinary. That means that you all know and have come to know that it's a clean list. I send you news, information, links that you can use that are outside of the two-party political paradigm, and I support everything I discuss on the show in those show notes. And so if you haven't signed up for the SJ Show, make sure that you do that right now. But here we have the lead story, tokenization of H2O. Elites are claiming the world's water supply and plan to trade it. And Greta Thunberg, by the way, is nowhere to be found. The same girl who was outraged. How dare you attack the natural resources of the world that should be owned by the common people? Well, she has no problem with Agenda 2030. She has no problem with the tokenization by the elite ruling class of every natural resource on the face of the planet, the rainforest, every blade of grass, and yes, the water included. Here is a pull quote from the story. Water is the foundation of life itself. Every human, every animal, every plant depends on it. Yet the same elites who lecture the public about scarcity and climate are building the very machinery to turn every last drop of water into a tradable asset they can profit from, while ordinary people face rationing and surveillance. This is exactly the process already described and promoted in the official reports. Goldman Sachs itself published this, securing and financing the future of water in 2026, openly stating that tokenization can turn water rights into traceable tokens that track use across markets and deliver credits for companies that conserve or recycle water through connections to flow meters. So a very few number of ruling class elites will have access to all of this information, and they are going to use it to get rich, but also to deprive you of water, of free, easy access to water. And amazingly, the climate people, the tree huggers like Greta Thunberg, have nothing to say about it. That's how you know their movement was a fraud. And that's how you know that this is coming and it is in place. So this is the top story today on the SJ Show. We're going to be looking at that piece in depth in just a bit. But we're also looking at the Dutch farmers. They are rallying against nitrogen permit clampdowns, again, as part of Agenda 2030. The resistance is happening not only in the United States of America, but across the globe. And this is a great video. This is all over X right now, and I just love it. Take a look at this. The Dutch resistance rolling out yesterday. First the farmers, then the truckers, and the creativity with this organization is just astonishing. It is a pushback to the Dutch government's priority to control and collapse many of the farming operations across the Netherlands. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, but just take a look at what they're doing. This is awesome. Oh, why aren't my videos aren't working? All right, guys, this happens every once in a while. It's a little bit glitchy, but unfortunately, it looks like I can't play my videos, which will be a big problem, because if I can't play my videos, I can't support some of the things I'm talking about, and we can't run commercials. So you guys have been here before. If you don't mind holding tight, I'm going to leave the studio and pop back in to reset the Rumble Studio. Sometimes it's glitchy, and today is one of those days. So if you guys don't mind, talk amongst yourselves on the live chat, say hello to one another, pop up your comments and questions, and I'll be back literally. Sometimes I can do this as quickly as like 10 seconds. So hold tight. Let's reset the system and address that glitch, and we will be right back, okay? Okay, we'll see you in a minute. All right, we're back. How did we do? What was it? 5, 6, 7 seconds? Cotton 33, I see you. There you go. Take over, chat. Well, you all know the Rumble chat is a show in and of itself. Thank you guys for being patient with me. So hopefully that reset is going to work. But I just want to give you guys an idea of what this Dutch revolt looks like, just to set it up so you know what's going on there. On August 14th, hundreds drove to Den Bosch in North Brabant to oppose the provincial plan to revoke permits for 5 poultry farms near protected nature areas. The move follows a 2025 court ruling on excess nitrogen pollution. Farmers say it threatens their businesses and their ability to farm and ranch and provide food for so many millions of people. The action is part of a wider opposition in the Netherlands to national plans requiring sharp cuts in farm emissions by 2035. It is part of the 2030 agenda. It's part of the agenda to take over the food supply. So this dovetails with what we're looking at, the agenda to take over water supplies as well, which is why it's important. And the local resistance and the pushback is absolutely remarkable. It's amazing, and it's ubiquitous. It's happening not just in European countries, but in the US as well. So take a look at what's going on in the Netherlands right now. This is amazing. How cool is that? Little techno music there. Cat tip mirror now. The images. I love the creativity of this. They formed a shield rolling in from all over the countryside. Mack trucks, farm equipment, the young, the old. As the ruling class elite tries to depopulate, seize our food supply, our water supply. Look at that. How cool is that, guy? The creativity is what really is impactful, and I love this, right? And here they are rolling in. That's the scale forever. I love to see this. I wish the farmers and ranchers out here would do the same. I agree. We don't have this kind of movement in the United States of America right now. I wish we did. How cool is that? And one of the reasons that we don't have that type of resistance here in the US is because, sadly, many of the truckers and the ranchers and law enforcement, the people who would typically resist against these types of things, believe still, tragically, that their guy is in office. They still believe that Donald Trump has some super secret QAnon 12-dimensional trust the plan agenda that is going to save them from all of this. They don't realize that Donald Trump, his administration, the people they put in office, he's part of the plan. He's working for the bad guys. And so it's very tough to get things going here by the people who would normally revolt because, well, their guy's in office. It's much easier to rally this type of organization and this type of resistance when we have Democrats in office, quite frankly. It's really interesting. Zen Woman, let's get it rolling for sure. Well, listen, we still have Florida Man. All right. We still have, once again, the Sunshine State, a shining beacon of resistance Some of the videos coming out of Florida regarding the flock revolt, people cutting down the flock cameras, covering them up, taking them out. It is sweeping the nation. It's absolutely brilliant. I am 100% here for it. It is irreverent in nature, in nature. And the best part of this is it's bipartisan. It's Democrats and Republicans, regular people coming up and supporting the people who are taking down these cameras. And this came out of Florida. You know, this guy isn't a Florida man. This guy is the Florida man. And I am absolutely here for it. His name is Jimmy Balls, and Jimmy Balls is a one-man wrecking crew when it comes to flock cameras. And these videos were taken just a couple days ago. Absolutely hilarious. I want to see more of this across the country. Take a look at Jimmy Balls. Here's the first one. It's awesome. Watch this. There he goes. These guys don't know what to do with us. He's got their number. Look at the stare. And he backs away. That is a flock camera. All right, no, so that was the initial. Then he was spotted just a little while later. All right, Jimmy Balls made another appearance. This is quintessential. I agree with the caption. One of the best Florida Man videos I have ever seen. Check this out. That is a croc eating something.
Good one. Stay free.
What do you got there?
Flock camera. Chopped her down. I'm Jimmy Balls. In the name of freedom and Constitution.
Thanks, Jimmy.
We won't be sold to Netanyahu. Love you. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jimmy.
I'm gonna look at the computer.
Do you think I should hop down there?
Too much. Just chopped it down. I'm Jimmy Balls in the name of freedom and the Constitution. And the best part is they're just like, thanks, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. Like you see a guy in Florida walking around with a flock camera and an American flag every day. Like they're watching the croc annihilate some poor fish. They turn around, they see Jimmy Balls, and they're like, this is just a regular day in Florida. We just got I mean, it's hilarious. You cannot make this up. So thank you, Jimmy Balls, a national treasure. I'm here for it. Not a Florida man, the Florida man taking down the flock cameras. Chopped it down. I love it. I absolutely love it. And people will say that this is meaningless. What is the point? What is the point of the Dutch farmers and truckers getting together and creating a human shield in a cornfield in the Netherlands? What's the point of people chopping down these flock cameras, covering them up, all of the things? There is a point. The resistance is not futile. This is a signal of the culture that people are saying that we don't consent. We're withdrawing our consent, whether it's the revolts against data centers or flock cameras, drone surveillance, digital surveillance, all of the things. You don't need a majority. You literally need maybe 3 to 5% of an entire population to just say no. Screw you. We're not doing it. We're not accepting this. And we're going to engage in civil disobedience if need be. We might break the law if need be in order to make a statement. And this is what so many people are doing. And communities are rallying around these people who are cutting down flock cameras. They're galvanizing around them. They're saying it's hilarious. In some of these situations, people are getting arrested and they're getting charged, and they're having community members, thousands of people sending emails and phone calls saying that, oh, I was with so-and-so at the time of the crime. He was visiting my sick grandmother, like just making up all of these alibis and excuses for these folks who are taking down these flock cameras. And it's great, right? And yeah, the first step is flock cameras. I know that there are other surveillance systems in place that we need to take care of as well. But the fact that my 14-year-old son and his friends are talking about it, and my 18-year-old son and his friends are talking about it, and they love it, the fact that they distrust politicians and the government is an indication that somehow this culture, the people are breaking out of the controlled paradigm of Democrat versus Republican. We're not waiting around anymore for a politician to save us. We're not waiting for a federal judge or a court case. We're not waiting for an election every 2 years or a presidential election. We're not begging and pleading for a savior to come and save us from the evil bad guys. We're taking this on ourselves and we're saying no. And every act of noncompliance, civil disobedience, every act of education, people pushing out these videos and organizing and arranging groups to get together in towns and villages across America, all of that is going to matter. And it's going to become very important, even more important, when they in earnest begin to roll this out. And so understanding the big plan is incredibly important. This is why we're going to take a lot of time today when we come back with this piece that I have printed out from Zero Hedge, an amazing publication on usually, finance, crypto, gold, silver. In this case, a new financial system based on tokenization and blockchain. These are the big plans that they are crafting behind closed doors that we have access to at some time that we can actually learn from. But essentially, this is a 4-page piece written by Patty Johnson, published in Zero Hedge, entitled Tokenization of H2O. Elites are claiming the world's water supply and plan to trade it. This is important because it's very educational in nature. It explains what tokenization is, how it works. It explains what the blockchain is, how that works. And it also explains the different ruling class oligarchical power structures who are beginning to try to put these types of new financial systems in place, profit from them, but also use the information and the data and the technology to deprive humans, in this case, of water itself. But they will use this, the tokenization of the sun, of oxygen, of human bodies, of what's going on inside of our bodies, the tokenization of the rainforests and the mountains and every blade of grass. If they can take everything, create a false system in the cloud that they control, force all of us onto it, then they own the world. They own everything. And that is your 21st century technological slavery. And that's what they seek to do. This piece is brilliant. I suggest everyone print it out, read it, understand it, because what they're doing with water is exactly what they're going to try to do with everything else. And interestingly enough, in terms of water, we've been reporting on the build out of the data centers, the use of, in some case, eminent domain. Donald Trump and his administration saying that they might declare an emergency in order to fast track and turbocharge the rollout of the data center construction and building across the country. That is troublesome in and of itself. And the data centers are going to be necessary for compute to take in all the data, process it, apply AI, and use it to control us and everything, especially this new financial system of tokenization. But what they didn't tell us is they really didn't need the hundreds of millions of acres to do that. They lied about that. They don't need the hundreds of millions of acres, but they're taking them anyway, or trying to take them to gain water rights. That's the dirty little secret behind this insane rush to turn the United States of America into a parking lot and use that parking lot to govern, control, and surveil the entire world, the financial system, every system, centered and centralized here in the US. And that's Trump's big plan, and not really his plan. The people who control Trump are the people who put this plan together, and they are the ones who put him in office. That's how this works. We don't have elected leaders. We don't have presidents. We have puppets. And I think everybody understands that. So when we come back, we're going to look at this, the tokenization of H2O, so that everyone understands what is going down. So buckle up. We're going to get heavy into this piece. It's going to be worth it. And we're going to go through a lot of it. I'm not going to leave a lot out because I think every bit of it is important. So if you guys can smash that thumbs up button right now, if you're watching on Rumble in the break, give the show a thumbs up, follow the Ask Jay show, leave a comment in the live chat. And please remember our sponsors. We are going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue with the program. Again, if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, love to see you. I'm going to look at your comments, but a comment, a share, a like, a retweet, that's how we grow the footprint of the SJ show. So everyone, keep it tuned right here. Very quick commercial break, just about 3 or 4 minutes. We'll be back to continue on the Shannon Joy Show. So, as you all know, life happens, and sometimes, regardless of how good we take care of ourselves, we get sick or a family member gets sick. And frankly, it never happens at a convenient time. Well, what happens if someone in your family gets sick at 2 a.m.? What are you going to do? Would you rather wait for care or already have the medications you need on hand? That's why the Wellness Company created the Medical Emergency Kit, a doctor prescribed kit containing 8 life-saving prescription medications, including antibiotics, ivermectin, and more, designed to help to treat more than 30 common conditions like UTIs, pneumonia, and strep throat. But does having a treatment on hand really make that much of a difference? Well, to answer that question, the Wellness Company conducted the first study of its kind. Among more than 500 verified medical emergency kit owners, 86% avoided a clinic, urgent care, or hospital, and more than 80% reported meaningful improvement within just 3 days. That's amazing. Simply complete a quick online medical questionnaire. If approved by a licensed physician, your kit will ship directly to you in just a couple days. twc.health/joy. That's twc.health/joy to get your TWC emergency kit now. Use the promo code JOY for $30 off plus free shipping. This kit is amazing. I love it. You're going to love it too. twc.health/joy. And make sure you use that JOY promo code every time you shop at the Wellness Company.
I'm going to show you exactly how to do the Feel Great system. There are 2 things that you want to do consistently to heal at a cellular level. That is fasting and regulating your blood sugar. The Feel Great system helps with both of those. So every day we want to commit to intermittent fasting. Now that fasting schedule is going to look different for everyone, and it might even look different for you day to day, depending on what your day looks like. Some days might be 3 meals, some days might be 2 meals, some days might be 1 meal, and maybe from time to time you'll do an extended fast and not have a meal that day. Key is no snacking during your fasting windows, not even like a couple almonds. To make that easier, we have Unimate. In your first order, you're gonna get this bottle. You'll see that there's a little line to fill up the water for Unimate and Balance. You'll figure out how much water you like for both Unimate and Balance, but for me, I like less water for the Balance and I like more water for the Unimate. In fact, when I wake up and make myself a Unimate in this bottle that holds 40 ounces. You'll have to go through some trial and error to know how concentrated you like it. Some people like it in 16 ounces of water. There's other people who like it in 40 ounces of water. Some even do a double dose of Unimate in this in the morning. Some people like it hot, some people like it ice cold, and other people like it at room temperature. I prefer it ice cold. To get the best benefits of Unimate, you want to sip this throughout the day. You don't really want to chug it. I sip it throughout my whole fasting windows. Some people, for their Unimate, they like to squeeze like maybe a lemon wedge in there and then throw the rind in here, as well as even some people have thrown in a cinnamon stick, and I've tried that. It tastes delicious. The other product that you're gonna get in your box is this fiber matrix known as Balance. This is about how much water I like for my Balance. This is not something you're gonna wanna sip. This is gonna be something that you're going to want to chug. So there's just a little tear line and you can just pull that right off and then put it in your bottle and you're just going to shake it. If you use a frother, that's going to make it a little thicker. So if you're just starting, I would use this shaker bottle. Just give it a few shakes, just like I did. And again, we're going to chug it, not sip it. I like the water for my Balance being colder than room temperature. If you use warm water, it's going to thicken up faster. And trust me, on personal experience, that's not the most enjoyable way to take Balance. You're gonna take your Balance before your biggest meal of the day. A common question we get is, well, can I take one before lunch and dinner? Yes, you can. You really can take as many of these a day. This is like a salad in a packet. If your digestive system is not quite used to a lot of fiber, you're gonna wanna ease into this. If you do have some digestive issues, do not stop taking this. Just do half a packet and ease into it.
All right, that is a great primer for the Unicity Feel Great system that I'm using right now. I love that. It's a little bit long, but it gives you guys an understanding of the daily process using the Unimate and the balance as part of that Feel Great system. I absolutely love it. It is helping people ditch the GLP-1. So many Americans who don't want to take those injections, they are using an all natural alternative, and they're getting the same results using the Feel Great system that they would get on a GLP-1, which is absolutely amazing. They are also reporting, people who are ditching the GLP-1 because they have really bad side effects, really bad symptoms. Their body just can't handle it. This is a way for them to wean themselves off of the injections and do something all natural. The system is amazing. I'll be talking about it more this week and next week because I am using it. But one of the key components is the fasting. And fasting is so healthy. Intermittent fasting, as you guys know, I do at least 2, sometimes 3 72-hour fasts every single year. And that I attribute to a lot of my good health outcomes. So many people have trouble with daily fasting. And the Unimate, that powder that you use during the day, in the morning and the afternoon that you sip, is curbing people's appetite. It gets rid of the food noise and is just amazing. So I'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on with the fiber later in the week, because that's that's the major aspect of this system that is patented. It essentially slows down your digestion so that you avoid those insulin spikes. And it's just great. It's great. Ollie Robin 9. Yeah, I understand that it's not cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than GLP-1 injections for sure. And they also, Unicity has a really great option for the Joy audience. It's $90 off forever. So you get $90 off a month when you sign up for the auto ship. It's also free shipping, and they have other incentives. But you have to go to shannonjoyhealth.com. So it's shannonjoyhealth.com to get their special offer. And hopefully as many people can use this as possible. Hey, Tara Preta Wild, great to see you. Everyone used to fast on religious holidays, different days depending on the religion. In my opinion, that was an ancient health system, ancient health wisdom. I agree with you 100%. Zayada, to be honest, I often forget to eat. Yes, absolutely. Future as I remember doing a long fast and was told to drink water with cayenne pepper. Interesting. Fasting is not easy. People have a real hard time with regular fasting. And it's been kind of my lifestyle for a lot of years. So I forget about that when I recommend it. But if people can begin as much as you can, even if as she mentioned, commit daily to it. It's a really great way to keep, you clean out all of those injured cells. And the longer fasting, when you have the autophagy setting in, it cleans out precancerous cells. It's just so good for you. So good for you. I've had so many doctors on the show talking about this. Here we go, Dino Fun. I heard from a friend that Trump, the Trojan horse, I added that, wants the Strait of Hormuz closed. Supposedly this, plus Venezuela, plus attacks on Russia, etc., are going to get at China and the BRICS nations. Well, that's not necessarily bad analysis. Certainly, there is a movement internationally to de-dollarize, to take the world off of the dollar as a reserve currency. And if that happens, it's going to be very painful for the citizens of the United States of America. We would be looking at a depression type situation, maybe worse. So unfortunately, we have not been good stewards of the almost 100 years of control over global economics through our position as the world currency or the world reserve currency. And the United States has engaged in the manipulation of currency. And so it is now encouraging other countries to collaborate, come together, create new routes and resources. new economic alliances, new currency opportunities. And as we discussed last week, I mean, that's the big plan. That is the unholy alliance between Donald Trump and the techno-fascist, control freak, God complex maniacs like Howard Lutnick, Elon Musk, and Peter Thiel, who put him in office. They basically told Trump, and this is just word on the street, but they basically told Trump in 2024, we can buy the election for you. We'll purchase it, control it, manipulate it, whatever. You're going to be the guy. We'll put you in office, but this is what you have to do. You have to implement the global control grid. I talk extensively with Catherine Austin Fitts about this. So make sure tomorrow, if you want to hear it from her, I'm going to run that interview live tomorrow. So do not miss that interview. But essentially, that was the trade-off. We'll give you the presidency. You can grift as much as you want. So the insider trading, the pumping and the dumping, the meme coins, the meme scams, the crypto, the Bitcoin, all of it, the trading, the pay to play, trading favors for beneficial contracts and governmental protection, all of that we're seeing from Trump blatantly right in front of our faces, that was the agreement. Basically, you can make as much money as you want off this presidency, set yourself and your family up for life, do it in the open. We don't really care. You just have to implement the data centers, the digital ID, the digital currency, and also the surveillance state. So the drone surveillance, the technological surveillance, the flock cameras, all of that grid needs to be warp speeded. And Donald Trump, you're going to be the guy that does it. And he's doing it. That's exactly what we're seeing play out. So what they have also told him, and this is likely the justification for it, if they have to defend this, it's really just a power and money grab. But if they have to defend this, what they're telling Republicans and fiscal conservatives is that, well, the economy is going to collapse. Dollar's over. We're done. We have a $2 trillion deficit as far as I can see. We can't keep up with any of the interest payments, mortgage foreclosure. I mean, everything across this economy is falling apart. And they all know it. And they all know that they're never going to pay down that deficit. They're never going to cut spending. They're never going to stop printing money. So basically what they're saying is, well, the only way that we can keep the U.S. in power as a global reserve currency is to set up the new technological system, the new digital system. This is why tokenization and the blockchain is really important. They're saying we're going to control that. The U.S. will be the hub for all surveillance, all number crunching, all AI, all of that infrastructure needed to put everything on the blockchain and tokenize everything. Every blade of grass, the sunlight, oxygen, water, humans, you name it, all of that is going to be in the US, centralized in the US. And then we can continue to be like the global leaders of the world. We'll have the de facto digital reserve currency in place, and then we'll all get rich. But none of us little people, we're not going to get rich. We're going to become slaves. So it really is, it's a false choice, right? We either get economic catastrophe and depression and or the digital technocratic fascistic surveillance police state. Those are our choices. Those are false choices. We should reject them. And what we should do is say, no, you're not going to do that. We're going to push back locally. Fuck you. Pardon my French. And you're just not going to get away with it. And that's what we're seeing play out right now. This is the discourse right now that we're witnessing. And it doesn't have to be like that. They want us to think it's inevitable. But as you can see, and we can see, it's much more difficult to corral 350 million people than they would like us to think. And so our job is to throw wrenches into every one of their plans. And also decentralize everything, decentralize routes and resources, decentralize control over currencies, come up with our own currencies. Again, Catherine and I talk about all of this tomorrow. You guys are not going to want to miss that show. And so this is the second half of the global takedown, or the globalist takedown of the United States of America, right? First half was Donald Trump. He initiated it with warp speed and lockdowns of 2020. They put him back in office because he did such a good job for them the first time, right? And then Biden, of course, picked up the football and carried it down the field. Now Trump is back in place to do the second half. And then some of the really bad things I think will start to happen after they have the next person in charge. Sorry about the F-bomb. I know every once in a while Every once in a while, I feel as if it's appropriate. Let's go to Twitter real quick because we have some great people watching on Twitter right now. And thank you for retweeting, sharing, commenting. You guys are amazing. We're growing that audience on Twitter, which I love. Hey, Abraxas Hudson, great to see you. If the predator class eventually threatens and restricts our water supply, which seems to be one prong of their plan to bring us to our knees, it would be advantageous to understand how to construct a solar still with links below. Also, adding a hand pump to your existing well or adding an agricultural well with a hand pump would offer a survival advantage. Amazing, Abraxas. Thank you so much. All the links are on the comment section on my Twitter feed. So appreciate you. And I'm following you now. Hey, Cuban American, I so appreciate you sending lots and lots of prayers for Mama Joy's health to improve. Drive safely. Hey, Cuban, thank you so much. I'm following you now on Twitter. Everyone on Twitter who comments on the SJ show gets an automatic follow back. So I'm following Cuban American and the last Redskin with 100% strong arm and a flag. Great to see you as well. I am following you as well on Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter right now, thank you for being with us. Please keep those comments coming, retweet and comment. That is how we grow the show. So let's, right, Ollie Robin 9, I see you on the live chat. For those of you watching on YouTube, in the next break, I will make sure to read some of your comments as well. Let's get into this piece. This is an important piece because it really is the cornerstone of the infrastructure that I just explained to all of you. What the grand plans are for the global technocratic oligarchs and these power pockets of money and wealth, intergenerational money and wealth. So we are not dealing with nation states anymore. We're not dealing with sovereign nations and sovereign agendas. We're dealing with what appears to be nations posing as nations with installation puppets, people who are put in positions of power that are supposed to give you the illusion that they're making the decisions. So whether it's Canada, the US, France, England, Russia, China, Iran, you name it, doesn't matter. They don't really have power. They are essentially just acting as proxies for the power structures behind them. The power structures behind them are at war with each other. So there is indeed a war happening. It's just not the same kind of war that we've witnessed in the past 100, 200, or 300 years. It's not kinetic at this point. It isn't boots on the ground. It isn't tanks and bombers and airplanes and blitzkrieg and that type of warfare. It is psychological. It is economic. It is being waged in the medical industrial complex, poisoning, blocking out the sun, poisoning our food and our water. But the main poison, the main agenda for the mass poisoning is the injections. And then, of course, the hospital kill protocols. So we're in a very different type of war situation, but it is deadly all the same. There are casualties, human casualties. And unfortunately, we, the people, are on the front lines, right? They drafted us onto the front lines in 2020 when they locked us down, deemed us essential, non-essential, and waged insane financial war against us, transferring trillions of dollars, at least hundreds of billions of dollars, likely trillions of dollars from the middle class, the productive class, small, medium-sized businesses, to the corporate class and the global class. And so in addition to that, they rolled out Operation Warp Speed, which I do believe is responsible for the health crisis, the epidemic of turbo cancers, and I mean, just a whole host of just horrifying ailments that many believe are stemming directly from the injection of spike protein and mRNA technology directly into human bodies, and calling it a vaccine. So it's a mind war. It's all of the things. So this piece from Zero Hedge is important because this explains the infrastructure and how it gives you a little snippet, a slight understanding of how they're going to do it. And so that's why we're going to take some time with this on the show. We have about 40 minutes left in the show today. I'm going to dedicate the next 15 or so to really diving into this piece. So we're going to get a little heavy. Bear with me, but this understanding is important. This is going to set you up for my show tomorrow, with Catherine the Great, Catherine Austin Fitz, who has the best handle on all of it, of all of this, of anyone that I know or that I have interviewed to date. She is a giant. Her intellect is unbelievable. Her experiences have prepared her for this moment. And she has set up an infrastructure of support for all of you. So tomorrow's show, you're going to absolutely love. So this was written by Patty Johnson. It was rolled out by Zero Hedge. Highly suggest you follow Zero Hedge. I've been following them for well over 10 years. They're a regular in terms of sourcing for financial news here on the Shannon Joy Show. Patty Johnson wrote this. This is the title: Tokenization of H2O. Elites are claiming the world's water supply and plan to trade it. She said, this is not a joke or an exaggeration. The facts are now out there for everyone to see. And I wrote about the tokenization of nature, meaning everything, in my article, From Blockchain to Ball and Chain. Are we being Borged? She sounds like a gal that I would like and should probably have on my program. Has anyone heard of Patty Johnson? This piece is amazing. This article will deal primarily with the tokenization of the world's water supply. This is important because this is happening right now in the US. The rollout of the data centers is really an agenda to gain access and control of water rights in the US. And what they would like to do with those water rights is to tokenize that. Here's how it works. Tokenization is turning life itself and nature itself into a tradable chip and a mechanism of extreme control. For those who do not understand tokenization, listen up, because we're going to define it here so that you can understand it, so that anyone can understand it. Tokenization means turning something real, like a share of water rights or a blade of grass or a sliver of the Amazon forest or human biologics. Remember Bobby Kennedy Jr. talking about the agenda to have every American on a wearable, a device that Americans wear to extract data and information about what is happening in your body, right? That data and information, again, the seizure of that data and information can be turned into something tradable for people to get rich on. So it is turning something real, organic, and in nature into, or like a water rights or a measured volume of water from a river or aquifer, or even credits for water that was saved or recycled, into a digital token, a unique digital certificate that lives on something called blockchain. Now, blockchain, if you don't know what it is, it's simply a shared digital notebook that many computers keep. They keep identical copies of at the same time so that the records of who owns what and when they buy or sell it cannot be secretly changed or manipulated by any one person or company. However, the problem with that is if you have multiple people who are using a blockchain and they engage in collusion or insider trading or any type of conspiracy to control that, they could easily use that, control it, and defraud so many people. And we've seen that play out in a variety of ways. So you have to have the tokenization. It's the taking of something organic and creating a digital token, a digital coin, or some type of digital entity that reflects that organic material, and then keeping it on a ledger. So keeping all that data on a centralized ledger, which is called the blockchain. There are many variations of this. What the bad guys would like to do is centralize all of it. That's what they're going for. They want centralized control, or as much control as possible, of the blockchain and the process of tokenization and the extraction of data collection from, as I mentioned again, everything. So this is the war. This is the AI arms race. And now I'm of the mindset that all of them are kind of working together, but it can work to our advantage that a lot of them are fighting with each other. That makes it difficult for them to roll this out in a ubiquitous and global way. So I'll go on. The token can then be bought or sold. Again, this is a piece written by Patty Johnson, an explainer on tokenization of natural resources. She said this token can then be bought, sold, or traded on markets in the same way that people trade stocks or other assets. Instead of water simply belonging to the land, the local community, the people who use it, or the people who rely on it, it becomes a financial product that large investors, corporations, and institutions can own fractions of and exchange for profit. So we now have outside stakeholders, corporate entities as big as BlackRock coming in and claiming our natural resources. What was once owned by the community, the local community, used and shared by the local community, is now being extracted, seized, taken over, and this financial mechanism. And they're already doing it, and they've already done it. So they will use this to become the financial products of large investors, corporations, institutions who own fractions of it. And they can use, claim, offset, or trade that water once it becomes a commodity. So offset, and we've seen this now with carbon trading and carbon footprint. So if you remember the agenda, Elon Musk loves this, like essentially surveilling every human, our carbon footprint, how much we use, how much air, water, land we use, and then essentially creating an economic system on that so that they can punish us or reward us for proper use of natural resources, which they have now seized. Is this making sense? Am I going too fast? Is this boring? Tell me right now if this is all too boring or too heavy, because I'll stop. I think it's important, but I know that we're getting a little bit deep, and that's not always long format. People like 1 minute sound bites, 5 minute sound bites. Long format is a dying art, but I do think it is. I do think it is important. So LT Oracle of Truth, I see you on the live chat. In 100 to 200 years, humans will be in the matrix, maybe sooner. I'm gonna push back against that LT Oracle of Truth. That is a doctrine of inevitability. You are repeating a soundbite. You are repeating a propaganda message that has been delivered to you through people like Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, and other highly platformed individuals, many of them in independent media, who want you to believe that this is inevitable. I do not believe that this is inevitable. I believe that this is completely not inevitable. And we have the power as humans to organize to resist this. That doesn't mean technology isn't coming and changing. It means that we don't have to grant it to all of them. So yes, Tara Prada Wild said, Shannon, this is pivotal. Thank you. Honor Seeker says, don't stop. This is good. All right, let's keep going. LT Oracle of Truth, it depends on us. Thank you. Thank you. I never allow that on the show. I do not allow that propaganda to exist on the Shannon Joy Show, that resistance is futile. There's nothing we can do. The bad guys always win. There's never any justice. This is all inevitable. The billionaires are taking over. No. We don't do that here on the SJ Show. We have agency, and we always have. And much of it is just within our power to say no. So let's keep going. How dare they profit from stealing our water? Patty Johnson asked. And, this is interesting. Yes, it sounds like Greta Thunberg, doesn't it? Because she used to care about these kind of things. Remember, she was the poster child for the environmental movement, for global sustainability, for making sure that the masses had access to all the natural resources. Well, Greta's nowhere to be found. In fact, Greta Thunberg loves Agenda 2030, probably because she was created by the same people who rolled out Agenda 2030 and Agenda 21 and all of the other agendas. So this is how you know when Greta Thunberg exits stage left and has nothing to say about the data center rollout or the flock cameras or the evil billionaires who are putting this all in place. Well, you know that this is part of that larger agenda. So, this is what Patty Johnson has to say about that. I think she's brilliant, and I echo her sentiment. She said, yes, I sound like Greta when I say, how dare they steal our water so that they can profit from it. The irony is thick. The same girl who made How Dare You famous has been thoroughly programmed to cheer for Agenda 2030 and the very control grid she should be screaming against. Since she refuses to use her catchphrase when it actually belongs, I will do it for her. And this is what she has to say. Water is the foundation of life itself. Every human, every animal, every plant depends on it. Yet the same elites who lecture the public about scarcity and climate are building the machinery to turn every last drop into a tradable asset that they can profit from, while ordinary people face rationing and surveillance, and I would say slavery. Because when they have access to all of the data, all of the information, if they're able to achieve that, they can use it to control every human on the planet. And they won't need chains. They won't need ropes. It's not going to look like the slave trade of, the 18th and 19th centuries. This is a new 21st century slave trade, and it uses technology, and that's what we need to understand. We also need to understand that it is being rolled out by both Democrats and Republicans. Trump is the Trojan horse within the Republican Party, but Biden had his hands in this agenda as well. If Biden had tried to do what Trump is doing right now with Howard Lutnick, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Palantir, BlackRock, and the technocrats, we would be raging against it. The conservatives would. But they are not raging against it because they think that their guy is going to take care of them. And that's why it's so important that we expose Trump. It's not because I have TDS. I don't care about Trump. I don't have any feelings or emotions about Trump. I just look at the discernible policy outcome. And way too many people have lots of feelings about Trump. They believe in him. They have faith in him. They worship him like a deity. And these are Christians and conservatives. And it is very wicked. They need to stop doing that because he is leading them down a wrong path. So this is not personal. It's just business. And we follow the discernible policy outcome here in the Shannon Joy Show. Joe Biden was never anywhere close to the rollout of the technocratic control grid in terms of where Donald Trump is. Okay. And that's just the truth. So let's go on. So here's the deal. This is exactly the process already described and promoted. And so here in the piece in Zero Hedge, there are many, many links. One is to a piece entitled Securing and Financing the Future of Water. It was rolled out in 2026 by Goldman Sachs. And in this piece, they openly state that tokenization can turn water rights into traceable tokens that track across markets and deliver credits for companies that conserve or recycle water through connections to flow meters. She has that linked in the show notes right here. The United Nations has also declared that the world has entered what they call the era of global water bankruptcy. Their report, which is linked in the show notes and in this piece in Zero Hedge, argues that the old system of local rights is finished and that the new enforceable limits, transparent accounting, and centralized management are required. And so they have an entire collection of plans to put this into place in the 21st century. You can access them. It is linked in the show notes as well. So the mapping machines, so how are they going to do this, right? We know what the plan is. They want to tokenize everything, including humans, your body, okay? The body of your baby, the body of your children and grandchildren. All of it can be used to extract wealth for an elite, decrepit, God complex control class. And the mapping machines, Patty Johnson writes in this piece, are already here and they're already flying over our heads. This is going to blow your mind. This is how they're doing it. Across the US, helicopters are now flying low over farms and aquifers, towing giant electromagnetic loops that map the groundwater beneath our feet, almost like an MRI of the entire Earth. California's Department of Water Resources runs statewide airborne electromagnetic surveys for exactly this purpose. And she links you to their website where they explain the process and how mapping technology works. There are more details on the images and the surveys linked in the show notes. And she also has a USGS example of the same helicopter-based technology used for aquifer mapping. And you would imagine that they have other technologies as well. Drone technology to essentially track and trace and take a footprint of everything on the face of the planet, including your water, okay? This survey creates detailed maps of every major water source so that usage can later be tracked and limited. So this is why they need the build out of the data centers. They need the compute. They need the artificial intelligence to crunch the numbers, right? All of this is part of the system that creates a new economic and financial system, global in nature, that relies on tokenization and Bitcoin. Right. So we're seeing the infrastructure being built. There's a physical build out of this, something that needs to actually happen in terms of that infrastructure. And everyone agrees that Donald Trump and his initiatives have now set in place the most rapid, widespread build out of this infrastructure across the country. And we're even seeing it in the Oval Office with the bunker, the ballroom bunker that no one believes is a ballroom. And they're not telling us their plans outright. The plans are detailed. You can find them, but no one on the left wing or right wing news media will talk about this, save a few outlets. I highly recommend Patrick Wood over at Technocracy. Courtney Turner has an amazing Substack on this. Aaron Day is of Daylight Foundation, is an expert on this. You can follow him on Twitter. We have a lot of resources at our disposal. Michael Yon understands this. Catherine Austin Fitz, the folks over at Solari understand what is going on here. And also we're having more and more voices on the former conservative right that are now leaning independent, who are openly criticizing Donald Trump, speaking out as well. Mike Adams, the health ranger, is getting some of this right, not all of it, but some of it. Alex Jones and his platform, they are pushing out on this as well. So there are a lot of great resources. I would say in terms of the best handle on this, technocracy.news, that's technocracy.news, Patrick Wood's outlet, and also Catherine Austin Fitz over at Solari. So those are two resources that all of you can access to understand this. But this is exactly what is going on. And she goes on to say, so we have the big picture, control of everything, surveillance of everything, and usage of that not only to make an elite global ruling class infinitely wealthy and the owners of everything, but also an attempt to enslave all of humanity in this new system. We know how they're trying to build out the infrastructure, the drones, the cameras, the helicopters, the data centers, the initiatives to take away land rights and water rights in towns and villages across America, the buying up of land. So the inflating of property values so that when they crash them, these guys can go in real cheap and buy up cheap land when all of those foreclosures go into place. Big story out there. I don't know if you guys have seen this, and I don't have a resource on this, but I will in the next couple of days so that we can understand that. But there are more and more stories out there now of an ungodly amount of foreclosures, not even foreclosures. The banks aren't even foreclosing because there are too many people simply not paying their mortgages. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months defaulting on their mortgage payments. U.S. citizens basically throwing their hands up in the air and saying, can't do it. Can't do it. Energy, water, food, everything skyrocketing. Taxes aren't going down. Inflation is crushing us. The tariff inflation is crushing us. It's only going to get worse. Those predictions are out there. People can't afford their mortgages. Many of them bought at inflated prices at adjustable rates. And now the interest rates are going up. They're getting crushed, completely crushed. But here's what's crazy about all of this. The banks aren't foreclosing. At least they aren't foreclosing yet because it's too big to fail. Think about that. Think about that. And this might be a good thing. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here and just thinking outside the box. But imagine that more and more Americans simply cannot pay their mortgages. And it's not that they want to be deadbeats and they don't want to not honor their obligations. It's just impossible. Our government class is driving our economy into the dirt. They are crushing us with inflation and tariffs and taxation, and there's nothing people can do, right? So imagine this idea that there's a tax revolt. People don't take their taxes or pay their taxes, but what if they don't pay their mortgages? I don't blame them. You know, if you can, do it. But it's almost as if the American people living in their homes are becoming too big to fail, which is kind of blowing my mind right now. I haven't even thought about that. I should process it because I would never encourage people not to pay their mortgages. But if you can't pay your mortgages based on a completely rigged system that needs to be exposed anyway, but you need to stay in your house, if enough people aren't paying their mortgages, well, then there's no way that they can foreclose on all of them. And so then you stay in your house and something resets. I don't know. I don't know. Another mortgage bubble, Mark the Regan, 100%. The question is, will they be able to get us out of our homes, right? It's their fault this is happening. Well, it's our fault too, by the way. Catherine Austin Fitz and I talk about that too, that don't kill the messenger here. But we, the people of the United States of America, the citizens of this great country who have a beautiful Constitution and a beautiful Declaration of Independence and an unbelievable Bill of Rights and a system that we could use to manage maximum liberty for ourselves and our children. We've gotten very lazy. We've gotten apathetic. We are allowing ourselves to be driven by propaganda, misinformation into sectors left or right. We're refusing to work with one another. We're forgetting our founding. We're forgetting our principles. And we're becoming insanely partisan and ideological. And essentially, we're operating in cults. And so we've allowed this in some ways to happen. You can't blame these criminals in Washington, D.C. for doing the same thing over and over. We give them the power over and over. We never call them out. We continue to shuffle to the election booth and pull the lever for a donkey or an elephant and expect things to change when they never do. So I do think, there are villains out there, bad guys out there, but we have to take some responsibility in this as well. We have to take some responsibility in this as well. And we cannot allow ourselves to become even more apathetic because they're convincing us that this is inevitable. It is not. Bye-bye says you have to take your money out of the banks. That's not a bad idea. I like to support local credit unions. So my money is out of all the big banks, but I like to support local, the ones that I can walk to and talk to the human and I know them. And so that's what I do. Honor seeker, they will own us financially and then we will be their slaves. Again, honor seeker, you are not allowed to say that on the live chat on the Shannon Joy Show. There is no doctrine of inevitability here. They will not own us financially if we refuse to allow them to do so. And we do not have to be their slaves unless we voluntarily submit and become their slaves. So there is an enormous amount of agency that exists in every human. We can make choices. And so I disagree with you there, honor seeker. Let's remember that we have all sorts of ways to withdraw our consent, to refuse to comply, to organize locally, and to resist their plans. Zen woman, damn it, Captain. That's right. Tara Preta Wild, apathy has been baked in by a century of psychological operations. Apathy and a belief that you can never achieve justice. That is a lie. That is a lie. And they use that to convince you not to do anything. And we just have to call them out on the lie. Mark the Regan, honor seeker, you triggered Shannon. Yes, I get triggered by doctrine of inevitability. And it's hopeless. It's never hopeless. Catherine and I talk about that tomorrow. Let's continue with this piece on the big plan. So their goal, own everything, including all of us. They're going to use the infrastructure that they're building out, data centers, flock cameras, surveillance, the drones, the helicopters, etc., to do it. And what is it going to do? If it is put in place, which it's not going to be because we're going to find it. What is it going to look like for us? Well, this is the piece, Tokenization of H2O, Elites Are Claiming the World's Water Supply, written by Patty Johnson. It's a brilliant piece, linked in the show notes of the SJ show. She said, the all-seeing eye of Oracle returns. Now it watches every drop of water that you use. She goes to Oracle Utilities, is already processing data from more than 100 million meters worldwide with AI systems that detect irrigation, leaks, and individual household use in real time. Do you have smart appliances? Have you installed the smart meter in your home? Do you have Alexa? Do you have surveillance cameras? These are all ways that we voluntarily offer up our household and everything we do in our household to the people who want to control it. So what can you do? You can take those things out of your home and you can go back to dumb technology, which we do at the Joy family household as much as we possibly can. So their customer platform is designed for exactly this level of precise control. So they pitch this as, innovation and technology. It isn't. It is surveillance and control. Larry Ellison didn't just dream of a panopticon. He said the quiet part out loud. In the future, if he gets his way, citizens will be on their best behavior because we are constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. That wasn't a warning. That was a sales pitch from the man who still owns roughly 40% of Oracle, the company now quietly embedding itself into the pipes that deliver the most basic resource on earth, water. She goes on, once you own the real-time ledger of every drop that enters a home, every farm, every factory, you don't need jackboots. You just need a dashboard. Throttle the water, the compliance follows. The same technocratic elite that spent decades consolidating data, finance, and surveillance is now moving on to the last ungoverned commons, water itself, under the soothing branding of customer platforms and smart utilities. And it's only a matter of time before they go after our oxygen as well. She goes on to detail how this system works, what they have in place. The infrastructure for control is already being paired with the financial machinery. And she goes into Chainlink. She goes into Dubai, the DMCC. It's a Dubai multi-commodity center. It's a government-backed free zone and major international trading hub that has signed agreements to launch the world's first digital token backed by verified freshwater reserves, positioning water itself as a tradable commodity on global water or on global markets. So they are doing this again to try to tokenize and control and track every resource on the planet. And this is why we have to take them out at the surveillance level. And this is why I love Florida Man. This is why this guy is a hero, right? You thought he was a criminal. He's a hero. Let's take a look at Florida Man again. That's the flock camera. Love this guy. Chopped it right down. There he goes. I love it so much. Jimmy Balls is his name, and he's quoted, in the name of freedom and the Constitution of the United States of America, I chopped her down. And you know, that's just Jimmy Balls, not a Florida Man, the Florida Man. This is happening across the country. We can make it very difficult for them to put this in place. And certain aspects of this will be put in place, but there are going to be areas for resistance and areas where we can decline consent. I know the soundtrack is perfect with the video. I absolutely love it. And so there are a million ways to resist this. Again, great piece. Big thank you. I would love to seek out Patty Johnson. Have you guys heard of Patty Johnson? I haven't. But it was, you know, this piece is very, very well written, and it's one of the best, most concise 4 pages in language that you can understand, laying out the whole system. Right? The people behind it, how it works, what tokenization is, the definition, what blockchain is, the definition, how it's being rolled out, how they're pairing that with the new financial system or trying to pair it with a new financial system. And then the best part of this at the very end, let me just give you her final thoughts on this. She says the plan is Technocracy Inc. It is global technocracy, or I would call it global techno-fascism. But these are her final thoughts. And after this, we're going to go to a quick break, and then I'm going to get all of your comments. So if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter right now, I'm going to take your comments. For those of you watching on Rumble, I will take yours as well. So make sure you put them in all caps. But these are her final takeaways. Make no mistake, the entire scheme sits squarely inside of the United Nations Agenda 2030 and its Sustainable Development Goals. SDG 6 pretends to be about clean water and sanitization for all, yet the real machinery behind it is the global accounting, metering, and financialization of every drop. The same institutions that wrote the goals now promote water bankruptcy, enforceable limits, transparent tracking, and market-based solutions that turn a basic necessity of life into a tradable asset class. What is sold to the public as sustainability and equity is in practice the transfer of control from local communities, local sovereigns, individual people, and nations to the very financial and bureaucratic elites who drafted the blueprint in the first place. Agenda 2030 is the framework being used to justify seizing, measuring, and selling the world's water under the banner of saving it. They use this with climate control, the weather, the air, oxygen itself, the land, the rainforest, the mountains, and eventually they will try to seize human bodies. Mark my words. Mark my words. This is the plan. It's already in motion. And the people pushing it expect the public to just sit back and accept it as inevitable. It is not, in all caps, says Patty Johnson, who wrote the piece, inevitable. Resistance is not futile. Exposing the plan is the first step. Shout it from the rooftops, news sites, and podcasts, and at your local council meetings, because this is our agenda. They can try everything they want, but we don't have to let them do it. Don't let the elites complete their takeover plan. They have the money, but we have the numbers. And we also have Jimmy Balls. Here's another video. This is another sighting of Jimmy Balls in Florida with the flock camera, the surveillance camera that he chopped down. Another great video. Check it out.
Still getting it done.
Yeah, he sure is.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Stay free.
What do you got there?
It's a flock camera.
Well, tell
Chopped
me.
her down. I'm Jimmy Balls in the name of freedom and Constitution.
Thanks, Jimmy.
We won't be sold to Netanyahu. Love you.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Let me look at the computer.
Thanks, Jimmy.
You think I should hop down there?
This is one of my favorite videos of 2026. I just absolutely love it. Thanks, Jimmy. Like just the nonchalant, hey, Jimmy, you know, you've got a flock camera there. You got your American flag. Thanks for all you do. In the name of freedom and the Constitution, Jimmy Balls got himself a flock camera. And they're in the midst of videotaping a crocodile just going after some sort of prey. And it's just, hey, this is just what happens in Florida. One of my all-time number one favorite videos of 2026, Jimmy Balls taking down the flock cameras. He is the Florida man. LT Oracle of Truth. Resistance is necessary. And Jimmy Balls has the big balls. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of the big bad government. He chopped that flock camera right down and stared down the two security guys who are coming after him. It's great. It's amazing. And there are hundreds, if not thousands of examples, of Americans across the country doing exactly what Jimmy Balls is doing. This is great. This is from tomshardware.com. So there is a new company that came up with a device called the Flock Sock. And the Flock Sock, in response to privacy concerns and multiple incidents that have led many citizens to take it upon themselves to block or disable flock cameras, the Flock Sock now has a way that is not dangerous. You don't have, if you don't have the equipment, you don't have to reach high. You simply take the flock sock and you use a broomstick to lift it up and essentially place it over the camera so that people, the cameras can't surveil. It's amazing. And this is what's so funny about it. This is from the flock sock itself, and they're mass producing these via 3D printing apparently. And they have an easy to use model that would take seconds to install. They say this about their product. The Flock Sock is a slip on a cover designed to help protect a flock camera from the harmful radiation of the sun. Your city spent their very hard-earned money, your tax dollars, scattering these cameras everywhere to keep you safe. All it cost you is a little privacy. The very least that we can do for these governments is to help protect these valuable civil servants from getting a bad sunburn. So the Flock Sock is actually preventing the flock cameras from being damaged by harmful radiation from the sun. The creator also said that Flock commonly uses 3 different models, and that they're working on profiles for the 2 other models so that there's a 3D printable flock sock for every flock camera you may find in the wild. This is too much. They say no glue, no screws, and 0 structural changes because it pops off instantly and with absolutely no damage. So funny. So there you go. If you want a flock sock, go for it. Jimmy Balls just cuts it right down, right? And he's just asking for the government to come after him. And the more brazen that we can be in this revolt, in this resistance, the better. So congratulations to every American patriot who has gone out and taken down a flock camera. You're doing your nation an absolutely amazing service. And they just don't know what to do with us. And I love it. By the way, everyone is declaring Halloween the anti-flock, the deflock day in 2026. Anti-flockers all over the nation will use the masks, the opportunity to mask up and embed themselves among populations of children trick-or-treating on Halloween to take down a couple flock cameras. And like I said, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right, let's go to a quick break. When we come back, we will close out the Shannon Joy Show with some of your comments. Keep it tuned right here. We'll be back in a minute right here on the SJ Show. The Bank of Japan and the Federal Reserve just flinched, signaling that gold and silver are the only hedge left for wealth protection. This is the topic of a brilliant zero hedge piece, which I recently reviewed in a Substack article, which is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. Something big just happened in the markets, and it could change everything. Japan's yen has collapsed to its weakest level against the dollar in 4 decades. After years of printing money and keeping rates near zero, the cheap funding that fueled the famous yen carry trade is drying up. Japanese investors and global funds are now selling U.S. stocks and bonds to bring that money home. Both stocks and bonds are getting hit at the same time, and yields are climbing. So here in the United States, newly appointed Fed Chair Kevin Warsh tried to hold the line and talk about resilience. The markets weren't buying it. The Dow dropped hard, longer-term yields jumped, and Warsh himself admitted that the bond market is starting to set higher rates because people no longer fully trust the government IOUs. With nearly $40 trillion in national debt and $3 billion a day going to just the interest payments, higher borrowing costs leave only one real option: more money printing, more debasement of the dollar, and that's exactly why physical gold and silver are so important right now. While paper assets get squeezed by rising yields and fading confidence, precious metals quietly protect the purchasing power families have worked so hard to build. Now is the time to consider physical gold and silver as a critical hedge. The Shannon Joy Show sponsor and regular contributor, Peter Schiff, has been warning about this debt imprint path for years. He's been clear, he's been consistent, and I highly recommend his team if you have questions about metals. Visit schiffgold.com/joy for competitively priced physical gold and silver, live support for information on gold-backed IRAs, and tons of resources on these emerging markets. Do not wait for the next wave of debasement. Lock in now and make sure you tell them that Shannon Joy sent you. Schiffgold.com/joy. That is schiffgold.com/joy. All right, everyone, do me a favor right now. Go grab your lotion. If you're a lady, it's probably the fancy schmancy stuff you paid way too much for off an ad on Facebook. I know, I've been there. Anyway, go ahead and read the label out loud. Can't pronounce the ingredients? Well, neither could I. And that's not skincare. That's a chemistry experiment in a bottle that we're slathering on our skin every single day. Well, North Idaho Tallow Company fixed all that. One ingredient that you actually know: grass-fed tallow. No lab list, no guesswork, handmade, small batched by a mom in North Idaho who refused to put that garbage on her own kids. So why would we? Here's the challenge. Throw out that mystery bottle and replace it with the Idaho Tallow Soap, Scrub, and Soothe bundle. This is created exclusively for the Joy audience. It's only $29 and it's going to change your skin. Go to idahotallow.com/joy to open up that $29 discount soap, scrub, and soothe bundle, or grab the promo code JOY and use it anywhere on the site for an additional 15% off the regular store. idahotallow.com/joy. That's idahotallow.com/joy. Welcome back, everyone, to the final segment of the Shannon Joy Show. Of course, I'm Shannon Joy. It is Monday, August 17th. And make sure that you're tuning in tomorrow. Mark your calendars. Big interview with Catherine Austin Fitts, one of the world's foremost experts on a lot of what we've discussed today here on the Shannon Joy Show. Her brain is way bigger than mine. You know, I'm just a humble podcaster out of Fairport, New York, and Catherine has dedicated her life to educating people. The breadth of her wisdom and experience, her knowledge on all of these moving parts is extraordinary. And we had a big conversation. I pre-recorded that interview last week on Friday. She blew my mind. It's going to blow your mind as well. You're going to hear things that you haven't heard yet. So make sure that you are tuning in tomorrow right here on Rumble, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Substack, on Facebook. If you're watching right now on any of those platforms, thank you so much for your comments and your support. Those of you who've commented on X, on Twitter, appreciate you. I'm following you back. And I do want to head over to YouTube as well. So let me pull that up. I did promise that I was going to say hello to all of you. So I'm just going to go to my channel and see what we have going on YouTube right now, so that I can say hi to all of you. I'd like to try to hit everyone. Dee Dee Tudor is with us. Hey there, from Elissamar, California. I love that. HJS Pete Ludwig is with us. Hey, Shannon, on the live chat on YouTube. Great to see you. We have Johnny Utah, 1861. He said, hello, Gen X Mama. Great show. Appreciate you, Johnny Utah. And we have, of course, Sharon Zarlaki, a regular on the live chat on YouTube. Great to see you, Sharon. Hope you're having a great day. Dee Dee Tudor saying, yes, let's go, Netherlands. Also, our ranchers and farmers are expecting the government to save them here in the U.S. The Trump family is all invested in this flock stuff. Trump has stocks in Axos for cameras on top of light poles. And it looks like YouTube has held that message for review, which is interesting. Hopefully we won't be being censored on YouTube, but fingers crossed. All right, great to see everyone on YouTube. Thank you to all of the chatters, and thank you to those of you who have been watching on Twitter as well. LT Oracle of Truth, Catherine the Great. And she is great. She is great. You guys know that I scour the landscape in terms of media, journalism, education, resources for the best, most courageous, independent truth tellers on the face of the planet in every aspect of political life. So the culture, politics, geopolitics, economics, finance, technology, education, healthcare, you name it, we hit all of it here on the Shannon Joy Show. But the difference is I'm not plugged into either of the two-party political machines. I'm not left. I'm not right. I'm independent. And there's now a growing number of quote unquote independents, people who used to be left and right, who are now mirroring and mimicking what we do every day here on the Shannon Joy Show, what we've done for the past 13 years. Interestingly enough, it's taken me 13 years to be right about everything, and now they're all following me. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you, your girl was here from the very beginning, rejecting the Democrats and the Republicans, never getting on to the Trump train, always reporting to you from a truth perspective about the principles that we share: truth, justice, liberty, transparency, all of these things that are free markets, what was built into our Declaration of Independence and into our Constitution, all of it resting upon my Christian faith, my biblical faith. That's where I come from every day. No agendas. And we don't have a billionaire backer here. We don't have super PACs supporting the SJ Show, politicians, none of that, just the advertisers. So you know who's advertising on the show. You know how we keep the lights on here. And that's very important to me in terms of transparency for this audience. So this is why people, even though, I'm not that smart, but people trust the experts that I bring onto the Shannon Joy Show because I get the best. I get the best. And they're changing, people change. And so right now, Catherine Austin Fitz, is just it. She's doing great. So we're going to talk to her tomorrow, then live show on Wednesday. I think I'm going to run on Wednesday a modified show. So I will be live, but what I want to run is, where is this in my notes? I have it listed here. Hold on. The sermon. This is really important. Really important. Understanding the infrastructure, important. Like, what are they doing? Who are the bad guys? Who are the good guys? How do we know which is which? Which tech is good and bad? How are they going to do it? All those things, important for preparing and surviving. But spiritually, we also need to be prepared. And I mentioned last week, a sermon, 45 minutes, maybe one of the best I have ever heard in my life. One of the strongest in terms of truth telling that I have heard maybe in my life. Topher Field is the pastor. He's also an author. And he delivered the sermon, Render unto Caesar. It is a look at the morality of civil disobedience. How are we to disobey given certain scripture in the New Testament? What examples should we look at from the Old Testament and New Testament? When is it the right time? When is it that God is commanding us to withdraw our consent, to refuse to comply, and to practice civil disobedience? We don't encourage here on the Shannon Joy Show just being a rabble rouser or just defying authority for the sake of defying authority. I love peace. We want order, some semblance of order for our children. But there does come a time when those who are in positions of power are representing a very, very wicked, and evil ideology. And that is when it is necessary. This is when God compels us. We are called to stand up and refuse to comply. And so he gives an understanding of the circumstances. When is it the right time? He uses biblical scripture, and it is just so good. So I think, and I know this is not a religious show. I don't think I've ever had a pastor on to deliver this type of message, but I think that I'm going to run that on Wednesday as part of a modified show. And then we'll move into a discussion on that for the premium members of Rumble. So I think that's what we're going to do on Wednesday, because I'm rolling out on Wednesday. Wednesday night, we're heading down to Tennessee to take my daughter, who is a freshman going to college in Tennessee. And so we're going to have kind of a modified show there. So tomorrow, Catherine Austin Fitz. Wednesday, we're going to run that Render unto Caesar. This is going to be very important. This is how you begin to build up your resistance muscle, get comfortable with it, begin to feel comfortable and powerful in your decision to not comply or to refuse compliance or to be civilly disobedient. And so people need to know about this. And I do think that this is going to be the only resistance. There's no savior in Washington, D.C. And the faster we figure that out, the better. So what else do we have in the show notes of today's show? We have, this is a good piece. So I have the tokenization of H2O. The elites are claiming the world's water supply. That's a must read, 4 pages, linked in the description under SJ show notes. We also have some information on the Dutch farmers and the Dutch truckers who are rolling out in mass civil disobedience, noncompliance, and resistance to Agenda 2030 in the Netherlands. I have 2 stories on that. Really great discussion by Peter Schiff, also a sponsor of the Shannon Joy Show, regular contributor here on the show. The middle class squeeze is only just beginning. We're also beginning to see gold and silver rallying again. This is not surprising to those of us who are watching what people in the know, institutional buyers, the people, the smartest people in the room, they have not in any way curbed their investment in gold and silver, physical gold and silver, taking the delivery of gold and silver. And, Peter Schiff is really ringing the alarm bell for the middle class. They are purposefully squeezing us through tariff inflation, money printing inflation, extreme taxation, and now a cratering economy. right? So the government is hostile in those three ways, raising the prices of everything. They're also cratering the economy. The job market is collapsing. Companies can't survive. They're closing. People are now going to be defaulting on their mortgages and their car loans. That's going to impact your ability to get a job. And the job that you get is going to pay less. So they're jacking up the price of living, and they're also obliterating the jobs market. And many people think it's on purpose to create so much pain for average Americans that we beg for Elon Musk's universal digital tokenized income, right? Then we truly will be slaves. So this piece by Peter Schiff is very good. It's a must listen. It's audio. And Peter Schiff, by the way, puts out some of the best information. He has been so consistent. I've been using him for 13 years as a source for the SJ show. He just came on as a sponsor a little over a year ago. He's amazing. He comes on every single month. But if you go to shiftgold.com/joy, you can get all of his talks, his resources. He's putting out content at least every other day, and it's good content. These are, 45-minute talks, audio, and also he's writing this up and featuring it on the website as well. So go to shiftgold.com/joy to access all of that information. They love it because then they know that their advertising is working. And there's a lot of really, really great information there. And also his team. They love this audience. They take really great care of you guys. There is a toll-free number on my website, shiftgold.com/joy. Also links. You can get the gold guides. I recommend calling them, leaving a message. They'll call you back. Let them know that I sent you. He has a lot of different options for people to hedge with gold and silver, whether it's physical gold and silver, tokenized gold and silver, which I am a fan of, right? I don't like all tokenization, but some I think is going to be great. Also, gold and silver IRAs. If you are nervous, if you have a life savings in an IRA or a 401k in your retirement and you're not comfortable in the stock market right now, you can transfer a portion over to a gold and silver backed IRA to hedge. It's really simple. Process takes less than a week to do it, and they will help you with that as well. So thank you to Peter Schiff. Great piece on why the science has never been settled. We'll do that tomorrow or Wednesday. A great piece about all of the worst trust the science moments in U.S. history dating back to the 1800s, including the lobotomy, which we'll go over. He has these short little stories about how psycho the science and the medical industrial complex really was. I mean, back in the days when, your medical doctor was, performing a procedure and smoking a cigarette at the same time while recommending it in the American Medical Association journal, right? Because they were paid by big tobacco. Yeah, they did that. Now they're recommending vaccines. That doesn't surprise me. Shouldn't surprise anyone. So that's in the show notes of the SJ show as well, among other things. You guys are great. Zayada, thank you for being with us today. Healthy Living 7, great to see you on the live chat on Rumble. You are a brand new name, and I love seeing brand new names on the live chat. So say hello. Hey, Tara Predawile, great to see you. Thank you so much for being with us today. Zayada is out. She's got to go file expenses. Okay, we'll see you later, Zayada. Appreciate you. Ollie Robin 9, whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and institute new government. Amazing words from our Declaration of Independence. Ollie Robin 9, appreciate you. Fearless Rose in USA, keep anything you truly need in a safe in your home. If there's a blackout, nothing online will be accessible. Yep. Physical infrastructure. We talk about that tomorrow with Catherine as well. KC 12112. Axon and BlackRock are turning streetlights into surveillance. Casey, I don't know if this is true, but there was recently this huge renovation in my tiny little village, and they ripped down some of the most beautiful, gorgeous, majestic trees in our tree-lined street. It looks absolutely horrible. I'm traumatized by that in and of itself. But they also installed all of these new streetlights. And I'm looking for cameras. I'm walking around. I don't see any cameras, but I'm wondering if inside those streetlights there are hidden cameras. If there are, I'm going to have something to say about it. And you might see me going Jimmy Balls. on the villages, the mean streets of Fairport, New York, and chopping down some streetlights because that's outrageous. They're interesting. The streetlights are interesting to look at, and they have these big globes, and I would not be surprised if buried inside of those streetlights are surveillance cameras. And I think I'm going to try to get to the bottom of it. So thank you for reminding me of that, by the way. Thank you, Fearless Rose, or no, who was it? KC12112. Thank you for linking that in the show notes as well. And for everyone else, thank you for being with us. That's right. Zen woman, Healthy Living, Ali Robin 9, LT Oracle of Truth, Mark the Regan, CJP Rumble. Thanks for being with us today on the live chat. You guys are amazing. If you're watching right now, please remember to share this with everyone you know. Smash that thumbs up button. Patronize the Shannon Joy sponsors and advertisers. Everything that you saw on the commercial breaks today, it's linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show with great deals and specials and discounts. Make sure you're using that JOY promo code. This is how we keep the lights on here every day at the SJ Show. So you guys have a wonderful day. We will be back tomorrow to do it all again right here on the Shannon Joy Show.